morning, my dear students. Once again, welcome to the world of electronics. Our lesson for today is taken from lesson 1 of module 3 under ALX 111, which is electronic devices, instruments, and circuits. The lesson is all about electronic circuits. Electronic circuit is an interconnection of components to provide current path between two or more electronic components. Good example for these electronic circuits are the television receiver circuit. You see that there are various electronic components that are interconnected to perform an important operation as a TV receiver. A digital multimeter circuit, a satellite TV receiver, cellular phone circuits, the remote control circuit. Basically, there are four important parts of an electronic circuit. These are the power source, the power controller, the conductive path, and the loads. For this TV receiver, the TV receiver is supplied with power source. It is around 220 volts from the outlet. A TV receiver circuit is provided with AC cord to be connected to the outlet. The 220 volts from the outlet provided by the electric company will be fed to the circuit. Then, that AC voltage from the outlet, 220 volts, will be rectified and converted into DC, which are needed by this TV receiver circuit. The digital multimeter circuit is also provided with battery that will serve as a supplier of voltage to the circuit. The remote control is also supplied with DC voltage. A cellular phone is provided with battery, which will serve as a DC voltage for the circuit. Then, we have the power controller. A TV receiver is equipped with a switch which will control the operation of the circuit, just like this one. The power supply itself is provided with power controller that turns on and off the operation of the circuit. The satellite receiver is also provided with switch, soft touch switch, as a power controller. Even the cellular phone, it is equipped with a power switch to turn on and off the operation of the cellular phone. Basically, how about the conductive path? You see that there are lots of wirings in this TV receiver. These serve as the conductive path for the electric current of the components. For the PCB board, on the surface of this solder side of the TV receiver, it has a copper clad printed on the surface of this board. They are just printed. They are made of copper material. They will serve as the conductive path for the electronic components. And lastly, we have the loads. The electronic components here will serve as the loads, the consumer of electric current. They are the reasons why the circuit is supplied with voltage. When the voltage is applied to them, electric current will be pushed by the voltage to circulate around the circuit. That electric current which are circulating around the circuit will be consumed by the electronic components itself. Basically, electronic circuit has two main types. We have the series and parallel circuit. But as we go along the lesson class, the comparisons and important application of the circuits will be taken up in detail. as well as the essence of Ohm's law that explains the relationship between the three electrical properties, such as the voltage, current, and resistance, shall also be emphasized. This is to determine the characteristics of the component in the circuit. Let us now come to the two main types of electronic circuits, the series and the parallel circuit. Series circuit is said to be series or serial when two or more resistors or components are connected in cascading formation, forming a single line. Whereas in parallel circuit, it is said to be parallel when two or more resistors or components are connected across each other. That is, when the leads or terminals at top are connected together and the leads or terminals at the bottom are connected together. They are just connected sidewise. So, they are said to be parallel circuit. That is one of the differences of these two circuits. Then, in a series circuit, when two or more resistors are connected in series, the resistance or the total resistance will be getting higher. Whereas, in a parallel circuit, when two or more resistors or components are connected across each other, the resistance will be getting lower. So let us prove using the formula to find the RT or the total resistance. When finding the total resistance of the series resistors, RT or total resistance is equal to R1 plus R2, since there are only two resistors that are connected in series. If there are 3 or 4, you can add plus 3 plus R3 plus R4. So by substitution, we have R1 as 300 ohms and R2 is 500 ohms. So the sum is equal to 800 ohms. So I have here, based from the coded value, the resistance here of R1 is based from the color codes provided to the surface of that resistor. So, let us probe using this ohmmeter. Using this ohmmeter, set the range selector switch to ohmmeter. Then, when you measure the resistance of the resistor or any of the components in the circuit, see to it that there is no power supply. The power supply is disconnected from the circuit. Or you may just turn off the switch in such a way that there is no flowing electric current. That is when you are measuring the resistance. So it goes like this. To measure the resistance of this resistor, it is around 298.5 ohms. 298.5 ohms is actually the measured value. Whereas 300 ohms is the coded value based from the colors. The colors of this resistor are orange, black, brown, gold. That is 300 ohms. So, how about the second resistor? The coded value is 500 ohms based from the color codes. It is 494. 494 ohms is the measured value using the ohmmeter. Actually, this is the actual resistance. 500 ohms and 100 ohms are just based from their colors. There is usually an inclination or diversion of the resistance from the actual colors because of the tolerance given. However, these resistances can be considered good or probably bad by computing the tolerance. when computing the tolerance of a certain resistor, we have to multiply 300 to its tolerance because the tolerance is gold and that is more or less 5%. More or less 5%. Tolerance, by the way, is the deviation of the resistance from the nominal value. It can be served as the maximum and the minimum tolerable resistance based from the tolerance given. Okay, we have here 300 ohms times 0.05. We have to convert percentile 5% into a decimal value so that it becomes 0.05. So, multiplying these numbers, we have 0.015. So, the product actually, when multiplying 300 with 0.05 is 15 ohms. So, 15 ohms is the product. To get the more, we have to add 15 ohms. So, that becomes 315 ohms. Then, to get the less, 300 minus 15 is 285 ohms from the coded value of 300 ohms. This is now the tolerable resistance, the maximum tolerable resistance and the minimum tolerable resistance. Based from the measured value here, the resistance is somewhere at 298 ohms. It is lower than the coded value. However, this resistance, 298.5 ohms, is still tolerable in the sense that it is within the tolerance limit. It is not below 285. So, this resistance is considered good for this resistor, although it is a little bit farther from the 300 ohms color-coded value. Okay. How about the 500 ohms? 500 ohms, again, the tolerance given here is 5%. More or less 5% because it is gold. So, again and again, multiply this one to 0.05 as the decimal value for the 5%. So, 0.025, that is 25 ohms as the product. So, again and again, to get the more, just add 500 by 25 ohms, that becomes 525 ohms. Then to get the less, 500 minus 25 is 475 ohms. That is now the maximum and the minimum tolerable or allowable resistance. That is from the coded value of 500 ohms. The measured value here is 494 ohms, which is between 500 and 475 ohms. So, 494 ohms is considered good as it is within the tolerance limit. It is not below 475 ohms. Okay? That is why when we measure the total resistance, that is, we are already connecting the two resistors in series. A while ago, we were just measuring the individual resistance. But now, we will be measuring the total resistance. It goes like this. $791 ohms is the total resistance. 791, no? 298 plus 494, if we have to add the measured value, it is exactly the same with the total resistance. 491 or 791 or 792 ohms. So you see that the resistance is increased when two or more resistors are connected in series. However, when the two or more resistors are connected in parallel, the resistance will decrease. Okay? Let us measure the total resistance in a parallel circuit. It is 185.6 ohms. 185.6 ohms. So, the measure here is 185. This one here is 791 ohms. But here in the parallel is 185.6 ohms, the measured. Then how to get the total resistance? Using the formula. So we have here the formula for finding the total resistance of the resistor which are connected in parallel goes like this. RT is equal to R1 times R2 over R1 plus R2. Or you may use a reciprocal formula, 1 over RT is equal to 1 over R1 plus 1 over R2. This first formula is good only for two resistors which are connected in parallel. This formula is not applicable for three resistors which are connected in parallel. But this formula is applicable for two or more resistors which are connected in parallel. Okay? Sige. Let us use this formula first. R1 is 300 ohms times R2 500 ohms over R1 300 ohms plus R2 500 ohms. So 300 ohms times 500 ohms is 150,000 ohms over 300 plus 500 is 800. If we are going to divide 150,000 by 800, the result is, or the quotient is 100. This is 187.5 ohms. That is now the computed value, the total resistance, 187.5 ohms. See the difference? In a series circuit, the resistance is 800 ohms. The total resistance is increased. Whereas in a parallel circuit, the resistance is getting lower. The total resistance now is lower than the lowest resistance here. The lowest resistance here is 300 ohms. But the resulting resistance is 187.5, which is lower than the lowest resistance among these two. See the difference? That is the third difference of the two circuits. Now let us come to the current flow. How much will be the current flow in the circuit, in a series circuit? Okay? When the power switch is turned on, electric current will circulate around the circuit. By the way, there are two types of current flow. These are the electron flow, that is the flow of the negative charge. It starts from the negative to the positive side. Whereas the other type of current flow is conventional flow. That is the flow of the positive charge. The current flow starts from the positive towards negative. But in our electronics department, we are using the electron flow. That is the flow of the negative charge. The flow of the current should be started from negative to the positive side. Okay. Now, how much would be the current flow of the circuit? So, we will connect the ammeter here. Ammeter should be connected in the circuit to measure the total current or the current circulating around the circuit. Okay? At first, let us compute the current using the formula given. Okay? I is equal to V over R. We are using now the Ohm's law formula, formulated by George Simon Ohm, a German physicist. In his statement that current is directly proportional to voltage and current is inversely proportional to resistance. Okay, let us prove. Voltage applied here is 10 volts, provided by this power supply. So we have to set this to 10 volts. So, V is 10 volts as the applied voltage by this power supply. Over the resistance, we will use the coded value, 800 ohms. That is to evade from the confusion, especially when we proceed to the parallel circuit. So, 10 volts divided by 800 is 10 volts divided by 800 is equal to okay, 10 volts divided by 800 is equal to how much? 0.0125 amperes. 0.0125 amperes. We need to convert this into lower unit, which is milliampere. Ampere is 10 raised to the power of 0, or it is equivalent to 1, whereas milli is equivalent to 10 raised to the power of negative 3. So, when converting this ampere into milliampere, we have to move the decimal point to the right 3 places. 1, 2, 3. In such a way that it becomes 12.5 milliampere. 0.0125 ampere and 12.5 milliamperes are just the same. They differ only on their unit used. Okay? That is very important because the electronic circuitry is very miniaturized and complicated. Electronic circuitry will be using always the least number of digits. And what is appropriate among the two is the 12.5 milliampere, for it has least number of digits compared here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, including the unit 6 plus the decimal point 7. However here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 only. There are 5 spaces only. So what is the appropriate unit? Should be 12.5 milliampere. Okay? Now let us measure the current using ammeter. See to it that the sign here is DC, because if it is like this, that is AC ammeter. We will be measuring current which is AC, but remember that this is DC circuit in the sense that the applied voltage is DC. So we have to set this into DC. We are now at DC ammeter. The unit indicated here is milliampere because the range selector switch is positioned to milliampere. Okay? At first, we will set this power supply as the source of voltage. We will set this to, because this DC power supply is a variable DC power supply, because the voltage can be varied from 0 volt to 32.4 volts. So this power supply is a variable DC power supply. So we have to set this to 10 volts. 10 volts, then refine by this adjuster. This is a fine adjuster. Fine adjuster. Okay, goes like that. Set it, set it. Okay. To prove that this is 10 volts, we have to first compare it to this digital multimeter, voltmeter, DC voltmeter, okay? To prove that this is 10 volts. If it is not, so we have to refer always to this digital multimeter. Okay? We have here the negative side as the output line. And we have here the positive side. Our DC voltmeter now is connected across this power supply. It is 10.12 volts. So we will set this to, so we will follow this digital voltmeter, because this digital voltmeter can give the accurate one compared here. No? Okay. Okay, just like lang. This is our final applied voltage, 10.05. 0.05 is almost negligible. Okay? That is now the applied voltage here. BA is applied voltage. Okay? Now, let us connect this one to the circuit. This is now the power source. The negative side is over here, and the positive side is over here. Okay? Probably the current is now circulating around the circuit. This ammeter here will measure the current flow. Okay? Let us again set this one to milliampere to measure the current. So how do you connect the current? How do you connect the ammeter, by the way? So, ammeter is inserted in the circuit. You see that it is between these two conductive paths. So we will just disconnect this line here. Since this is positive of the power supply, you connect your ammeter here. The positive side of your ammeter is connected to the red color, which is the positive side of your power supply. And the negative side is connected to the negative side of the circuit. It is 12.6 amperes. We have heard it, 12.6 amperes. Or 12.6 milliamperes, by the way, rather. 12, because the unit here is milliampere, no? Okay, let us measure again. 12.6 milliampere. The computed value and the measured value are almost the same. No? That is the way how we measure the current. It is said that there is only one amount of current circulating around the circuit. How about if we disconnect this ammeter here and connect the ammeter here between the two resistors? So, we will disconnect this terminal here to insert the ammeter. This is to prove if the amount of the current circulating around the circuit is the same from the ammeter here. We transfer the ammeter here between the two resistors. Okay? We will now disconnect this terminal. Okay. To insert the ammeter. This is the way how we measure the current. Still, the resistance selector switch is positioned to ammeter DC. Then, insert the ammeter here. This is now the negative side of your power supply, the black color. Then, let us first connect the power supply here. Okay. The ammeter is connected between these two terminals. This is now the negative side. And the positive side is over here. So the current measured is still the same, 12.6 milliamperes. 12.6 milliamperes. The same with the ammeter here. So, let us connect this one again here. How about if the ammeter is connected here? So we'll again disconnect this ammeter here and transfer here. We were able to measure the voltage here or the current here, and it reads 12.6 milliampere. Also here is 12.6 milliampere. How about here? Let us prove whether the amount of the current circulating around the circuit is the same. So again and again, insert the ammeter here. We will disconnect this terminal here. Connect the negative side as being indicated in the symbol. Then the positive side is connected to the positive circuit, to the positive side of the circuit. The measured current is still the same, 12.6 or 12.64 milliamperes. So, therefore, the amount of the current circulating around the circuit, since there is only a single line for the flow of the current, is the same. So, there is only one amount of current circulating around the circuit, since the resistors are connected in cascaded formation. Okay? So, it is actually a series circuit is a voltage divider. What is to be divided here is the applied voltage to be divided by the two resistors. Okay, let us prove. Let us prove. How do you measure the voltage across the resistor? So, it goes like this, class. The voltmeter will be connected just across the two terminals of the resistor. This is the way how we measure the voltage drop. So there's no need of disconnecting the wiring. You have nothing to disconnect. Okay? Apply a voltage. The power supply now is connected in the circuit. Then, set the digital multimeter to voltmeter. See to it that it is DC. Because if it is AC, it goes like that. There is a symbol AC. So, press again the select button in such a way that it changes to DC. Okay? Then, see to it that the polarity of your voltmeter and ammeter are in correct polarity. Remember that this is the positive side. So this is now the positive side of your power supply. And this is the negative side of your power supply. So it should be like this. It is 3.77 volts, the measured value. So, the measured value here is 3.77 volts as the voltage drop across resistor. By the way, When you invert the polarity, it goes like this. When the negative side is connected to the positive side, the reading would be like this. There is a negative sign here. That indicates that the polarity of your voltmeter is in wrong polarity. Because the negative side of your voltmeter is connected to the positive side. There is a negative sign. Whereas, if your voltmeter are in correct polarity, positive is connected to the positive side of your power supply, there is no negative sign here. That indicates that your voltmeter is in correct polarity. Because if you are using analog multimeter to measure the voltage drop, if the voltmeter test rods are in correct polarity, the pointer deflects forward. That indicates that your polarity is correct. However, if it is inverted, using the analog voltmeter, kickback. Kickback. The pointer moves backward. Meaning to say, there is incorrect polarity. Wrong connection of your voltmeter. Okay? How about R2? Voltage drop across R2. It is 6.25 volts. The lower the resistance, 300 ohms, the lower the voltage drop. It is 3.78 volts. But with 500 ohms higher resistance, the voltage drop is higher, 6.25 volts. So we have here 6.25 volts for B2. For computation, B1 equals I times R1. To get the B2 equals I times R2. So by substitution, current is, using the computed value, 0.0125 amperes times R1 is 300 ohms using the coded value. Then for getting B2, again the same amount of current, 0.0125 amperes times 500 ohms. So, let us compute. 0.0125 volts times 500 is equal to 6.25. The same with the measured value. How about B1? 0.0125 volts times 0.0125 amperes rather times 300 ohms for R1 is 3.75. 3.75 volts. Okay? That is for the computed value. Then to get the total voltage, it is said that applied voltage is equal to the total voltage. That is the sum of the voltage drops. So, B1 plus B2. BT is equal to B1 plus B2. So, it is 6.85 plus 6.75. The result is, 3.75. 3.75, sorry. The result is 10 volts. It is now proven that the sum of the voltage drop is equal to the applied voltage. Okay? Okay, let us prove. To measure the total voltage, just connect your test rods from the bottom here and the top here. Or just the same, that you are connecting your voltmeter just across the power supply. Okay? It is 10.03 volts. Just like that. No? There's a little difference only. Okay? That is for measuring B1. Then when you are measuring B2, would be like this. Okay? It goes like this, class. B1, B2, B3. Okay? Now, let us come to the parallel circuit. Again and again, the series circuit is actually a voltage divider. For there is only one amount of current circulating around the circuit. What is divided is the voltage. The resistors are connected in series. Each of the resistors will drop voltage. The amount of the voltage drop is in accordance with the resistances. The lower the resistance, the lower the voltage drop. The higher the resistance, the higher the voltage drop. However, for the parallel circuit, the voltage is the same for both resistors because the two resistors are just connected across the applied voltage. Okay? What is divided here is the current. Okay? Okay, how much would be the current around the circuit? Okay? IT, total current, is equal to BA over RT. BA here is 10 volts over 187.5 ohms. That is how we get the total current. So, let us compute how much would be the current around the circuit. So, 10 volts divided by 187.5 ohms is equal to 0.0533 amperes, or that is 53.3 milliamperes. That is the total current based from the computation using this coded total resistance 187.5. No? Meaning to say that the amount of the current at this point or to this point is around 0.053 milliamperes, or amperes rather, or 53.3 milliamperes. Okay, let us prove. How do we connect the ammeter? Okay. So, this ammeter is connected or inserted in the circuit. This will measure the total current. The current is not yet divided by the two branches of current. Okay? Again and again, we will set this one to ammeter DC. So, let us transfer this power supply here. This is negative side, and this is positive side. So, instead of connecting here, we will connect this one to the positive side of your ammeter we have here. Then, the negative side is connected here. That is how we connect the ammeter. It should be inserted. There is a wire to be disconnected from the circuit. It is 53.5. 53.5. 53.5 milliampere as the measured total current. This one is the computed current, 53.3 milliampere. The measured is 53.5 milliampere. So they are almost close. Diba? So you see that the current is increased. Unlike here, which is only 12.6 milliampere. Whereas here, increased to 53.5 milliamperes. Remember that both circuits are using the same resistances. 300, 500. 300, 500. But, so that is in accordance with Ohm's law, that current and resistance are inversely proportional. When the resistance is high, the current is low, 12.6 milliampere. The resistance is 800 ohms. But when the resistance is getting lower, 187.5 ohms, the resistance is getting higher. So that proves Ohm's law. Ohm's law is correct. Current and resistance are inversely proportional. Okay? So how about if we will connect the ammeter here? So, the same amount of current that you can measure. No? Okay, we have here. How about if we transfer the ammeter here? So, connect the power supply here, connect the power supply here, then insert the ammeter. This is negative because it is connected to the negative side of your power supply. And this is the positive side, going to the positive side. 53.3 milliamperes. So, or 53.5 milliamperes, the same amount of current. If you are going to connect the ammeter here, the amount of current is 53.5 milliampere. But here, it is still the same, 53.5 milliampere. So, the two ammeters here will measure the total current. However, at this point, the current will be split. Will be divided into two branches. So, it goes like this. We are going to connect the ammeter here to measure the current across this resistor. How much would be the current 1 or branch current 1? So again and again, we have to disconnect the connection here. Okay? To insert the ammeter. So, we will connect the power supply here. What is disconnected is just this portion here. Okay? This should be positive here. Going to the positive side. And this should be negative. It is 33.85. 33 point. Okay, let us measure again. This is one of the disadvantages of the digital multimeter. It delays the display of the current or the electrical parameters. So, it is around 33 point or 34 milliamperes. Okay, 34 milliamperes. It is, I1 is 34 milliamperes. Okay? Then, let us connect this one again. Okay, connect again. And disconnect this one to measure the branch current 2. We are going to connect to measure the branch current 2 again. For the branch current 2, okay, insert the ammeter here. So we are going to transfer the ammeter here. The positive side should be going to the positive side. Then, this should be positive. Remember that we are disconnecting the terminals. That is the way how we measure the current. It is 20.1 milliamperes. Okay? 20.1 milliamperes. You see that the current is lower for the higher resistance. It is 20.1 milliampere only. Whereas for R1, which is 300 lower resistance, is 34 higher. So the lower the resistance, the higher the current. Okay? Let us compute using the formula. How do we get the current, branches of current? I1 is equal to BA, because there is only the same amount of voltage across the two resistors, for they are connected across each other, over R1. So 10 volts for the applied voltage over R1 300 ohms. So 10 volts divided by 300 ohms is equal to 0. Okay, 0.0333 amperes, or 33 milliamperes, or 34. So the computed and the measured value are almost the same. Okay? How about for I2? I2 equals BA over R2. By substitution, we have 10 volts over 500 ohms. So, by computation, 10 volts divided by 500 ohms is equal to 0.02 or 20 milliamperes. Almost the same with the measured value. The computed is 20. The measured is 20.1. Just a matter of point only. Then to get the IT, or the total current is equal to I1 plus I2. So, the I1 is 33.3 milliamperes plus 20 milliamperes is equal to 53.3 milliamperes. The same with the measured value. The measured and the computed are the same. Meaning to say that there is no wrong of our experiment or activity here. For the measured and the computed are the same. Okay? That is the way how we compute and measure the resistances, the voltage, and the current. Okay, pause. Alright, class, let us now proceed for the computation of the power. When the circuit is complete, there is an electrical amount circulating around the circuit. It is natural for the resistor, especially for the power resistors, to become hot. Because resistors generate heat. Okay? Because when an electrical current passes a resistor, due to the presence of the voltage across it, power is lost in the form of heat. Power is lost in the form of heat. When an electrical energy or electrical current passes across the resistor, since there is a presence of the voltage here, or a voltage drop, the power is really lost in the form of heat. The resistor will be hot, especially if the resistors are considered power resistors. Because there are power ratings of resistors. You notice that the resistors are of different physical sizes. The smallest resistor power rating for this type of resistor, carbon film resistor, is 1/8 watt. That is 0.12. This because this is 2 watts, the maximum power. The biggest power or the biggest resistor is only 2 watts for this carbon film, followed by 1 watt, 1/2 watt or 0.5 watts. Then 0.85 watts, and this is the smallest, which is 0.125 watts or the 1/8 watt. We have only 4 available resistor shares of different power. So meaning to say, the power rating of the resistor is very important when it comes to the circuit. Because power rating or resistor power rating is defined as the amount of heat that a resistor can dissipate without degrading its performance. When we say dissipate, that is the action of the resistor. When the current flows across them, the heat as the power lost is absorbed by the resistor. After it is absorbed, it is spread out and disappear. That is the meaning of dissipate. No? Because one of the functions of the resistor is to dissipate heat. The first is drop voltage, diba? Then limits current. It has been proven that the current is limited. When the resistance is increased, the current is low. When the resistance is low, the current is high. So this is inversely proportional with current and resistance. No? Okay. So, the physical size of the resistor when it comes to the circuit is very important. We have to consider the power rating of the resistor. Okay. Let us now proceed here. How do we compute for the power? Okay. To get P1, power, or the heat being absorbed, spread out, and disappear from this resistor is equal to V1 times R1. No? You can use this formula. You can actually vary the formula. The basic formula for power is power is equal to V times I. We can derive that one as I because B equals I times R. So that is I square R. You can also use this formula for getting the power. Or power is equal to V times B over R. Because I is equal to B over R. So that is B square over R. This is the third formula for getting the power also from the basic. We were deriving it to different two formulas to get the power. Okay, let us base this first formula. B1 actually is how much? 3.75 volts. 3.75 volts times, this is current, no? P equals B times I. The current actually here is 0.0125 amperes. So let us compute. The voltage drop of that resistor is 3.75 volts times 0.0125 amperes is equal to, okay, P1 actually is 46.8 milliwatts. Power is the rate of doing work. The unit is watts, named after James Watt. Okay. How about P2, the power being lost by this resistor? So P2 is equal to B1, B2 times I. B2 is 6.85 volts times the current 0.0125 amperes. Since there is only one amount of current circulating around the circuit, So, let us multiply 6.25 volts times 0.01225 amperes is equal to 78.1 milliwatts. To get the total power, P1 plus P2 is the power rating 46.8 for the P1 plus 78.1 for the power 2 milliwatts. So, let us compute 46.8 milliwatts for the power 1 plus 78.1 for the power 2 is equal to 124.9 milliwatts. Okay? Because P2 is 78.1 milliwatts. Then to prove that this is correct, we will use another formula. PT is equal to BA times current. BA is 10 volts. PT is equal to BA times the current. So BA is 10 volts as the applied voltage times the current. The amount of the current actually is 0.0125 amperes. So 10 volts times 0.0125 is equal to 125 milliwatts. So 125 milliwatts, which is almost the same with the measured, with the computed. Still the same. Computed using the formula PT equals P1 plus P2. Here, PT is equals to BA times I. So 125 or 155. Because 154.9 can be converted into 155 milliwatts. Okay? Meaning to say that our computation is correct. Okay? How about here? So, computation raised power is very important. See that the amount of heat being absorbed by the two resistors with a total of 125 milliwatts. This resistor dissipate heat, which is 46.8 milliwatts. Whereas here, it is 78.1 milliwatts. Okay? How about here? How do we compute for the power? P1 is equal to BA or B times I1. Because the same amount of voltage for the two resistors, we will use 10 volts times I1. How much the branch current for R1? It is 34 milliamperes or 0.034 amperes. Okay, let us compute. 10 volts times 0.034 amperes is equal to 0.34. 0.34 watts, or are we using the one? So this is 340 milliwatts because this is 34 milliampere. 1, 2, 3. Okay. 34. The amount of the current circulating around the circuit. B. Let's see if we are correct. Wrong. Sorry. Yes, correct pala, correct. Correct. We are correct. The amount of current for I1 is equal to 0.034 amperes. Okay, let us compute again. 10 volts times 0.034 34 watts is equal to 0.34 watts or 340 milliwatts. Whereas for P2 is equal to BA times I2. So BA is 10 volts times the amount of current circulating around branch 2 is 20 milliamperes or 0.02 amperes. So 10 volts times 0.02 amperes is 0.2 watts or 200 milliwatts. 200 milliwatts. Then to get the power, PT is equal to P1 plus P2. P1 is 340 milliwatts plus 200 milliwatts is equal to 540 milliwatts. That is the total power being absorbed, spread out, and disappeared from the resistor. Okay. To prove that this is correct, we will compare it to here. No? So, PT is equal to BA times IT to get the total power. So, 10 volts times the total power here. The total current, by the way, rather, the total current is 0.053 amperes. So, 10 volts times 0.053 is 0.53 or 533 milliwatts, which is almost the same with the computation also here. No? PT equals P1 plus P2, when it is compared to PT equals BA over IT, are almost the same. Okay. Okay, that's all for the electronic circuit. For the two main types of electronic circuit, such as series circuit and parallel circuit. Okay? Thank you, class, for your attendance, and goodbye.